We are headed to the Bishop House in Kingwood, West Virginia to meet up with Rich and Rachel to do the first ever paranormal investigation at the Bishop House. Grew up about 10 or 15 minutes away from this house. I've driven by it hundreds of times in my life and finally got a hold of the owner who gave us the okay to get in there, and we are going to try to see if it's just a creepy feeling or if there's really more to the story. Wow. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yes.
Look at that.
Architecture is amazing in this place.
Oh
They don't
my
build places like this anymore.
I want to slide down that at least once before we leave here.
It might be liability.
Check.
Wow. These rooms are just enormous.
Is that 3 living rooms?
I believe it is.
Harry Potter lives under here. I just died. I went to heaven.
After we walk through, you can just tell there's a ton of history in this place. We don't know any of the history. I'm really interested to see what we can find and what we can verify with the historian when we sit down with her after the investigation.
My first impressions of the house after walking through are strange. I don't really understand a family living here, just a single family. There's too much gathering space, there's too much living space, there's too much dining space. There's only 3 bedrooms. And there's no place for the servants to live, to stay. There's servant stairs and a tiny kitchen and a huge utility room, but where did the servants stay? Whoa. Tiny family that hosts large parties.
I don't know the history. We'll find that out after we do the investigation.
I don't know the history, so
We'll sit down with the historian and she'll be able to tell us everything about this place. So we don't want to know anything going in. This being her first time on an investigation, Rachel and I began in the living room. I went over some of the basics of a paranormal investigation and the techniques we would use. Alright, my name is Jonathan. This is Rachel. We're here to talk to anybody who may be here with us tonight. We're not here to hurt you or harm you or anything. We just want to talk. Maybe get to know some history about this place. If you can hear my voice and you're not in this room, please feel free to come in this room, talk to us. Sit down next to us, introduce yourself.
talking to ghosts.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Rachel? Ask him a question? We just want to talk to them like they're regular people sitting in the room with us. We don't know if there's anybody here, but if there is something here, in all likelihood it was probably a person at one time. So we just want to talk to them just like we invited them in, or they invited us in. What we'll try to do is I'll get out one of my recorders here and we'll do what's called an EVP session. Electronic voice phenomenon is when we capture voices of something that we can't hear with our own ears on the recorder. So we'll ask some questions, play it back, see if we hear anything. Anytime we're recording on the recorder, if you make a noise, if you cough, if the house shifts, anything, we do what's called tagging. So just say, that was me, or that was a car driving by. That way, when I go back and listen to it, we'll know exactly what it was. So let's try that. I have a little red light in my hand. If there's anybody here that can hear me, and wants to talk, if you come up real close to it, speak into it, I'll play it back and you can hear your own voice. We don't know anything about this house, so we want to learn as much as we can. After we're done here, we're going to sit down with a historian and they're going to fill us in on exactly what happened here. So if you want us to tell her something, if you want your story passed on, all you got to do is talk into the little red light.
Well, the only question I have is if that's a who, then who is the who? Who is the who? Where were the servants' quarters? They had to say somewhere.
Did you hear that,
Yeah.
music?
Where were the servants' quarters? They had to say somewhere.
Did you hear that,
Yeah.
music? Like wind chimes almost?
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't heard that any time tonight except for just now.
I mean, a beginner's doubt,
Yeah?
maybe.
I mean, that's the thing with this place. We don't know anything about the history. We don't know anything about any reported hauntings. All we know that it's old and it's creepy. And so we're here to see if we can find out if it's just our minds playing tricks on us or if there's a reason that we get that creepy feeling. So if we come out of here and we don't catch anything, then that's perfectly good. We just showed that this is a creepy house. If we do catch something, then we talk to the historian, see if we can substantiate it. And that's never been done. I just heard that.
Yeah,
Music
there's
again.
gotta be a wind chime somewhere.
I walked around outside today. I don't recall. I'll double check. But
Okay, it's pink. As windy as it is, you think you hear it constantly.
mm-hmm. The noise that we're hearing that sounds like music or chimes, if that's you, can you do it again? That was-
Immediately.
That was it. I'm going to record and see if we can catch it. If that was you, can you please make that noise again? If you're not in this room, but you can hear me, can you make a noise in the room you're in and we'll come talk to you? What was that? That sounded like somebody dumped a bucket of water.
So
or
I think
something.
we should go that way.
Yeah, let's go over to this other room.
What is? I
We're
don't
moving.
want to. God. That is creepy. The little noise.
Alright, setting the recorder down. You hear that noise. Set
Maybe
in.
it was like a large ghost bee.
Cool.
My first impression was skeptical, to say the least. Although I don't really have an explanation for the wind chime sound. I tried, but I failed. I did think that maybe the louder, watery sound could have been like bucket of leaves off the roof for some reason. Possibly, maybe. I don't know.
Hi, my name is Rich Rowley, and I'm here to check out this wonderful building. And it's a historic building, and we'd like to see if there's any kind of paranormal activity involved with it.
With Rich headed to the basement to conduct his solo investigation, Rachel and I moved to the stairs to set up a flashlight session. This involves 3 flashlights set to where they can easily be manipulated by a spirit's energy, making their presence known. You want to try asking them? Maybe they'll like you more.
Nobody likes me more.
If it's a guy, they might respond better.
Scientifically speaking.
That's just nature.
No. Men are psychologically programmed not to listen to female voices. There was like a study or something. I don't know.
Nobody's wanting to play now, though. What if we step away and give you a little bit more room? If you're nervous. If you're here and you can hear my voice, please come up the stairs and touch one of the lights and make it light up. Then we can start having a conversation. Do you hear that?
God, I wish I didn't.
That was footsteps walking up on the top level. And
I don't like it.
Nobody on the top level. That was clear as day, too. Wow. If you're upstairs, I say go up the steps, but if you're upstairs, come down the steps. Promise we won't hurt you.
This is my defense. It's
No
my
way.
weapon. Well, there was something blinking over there. God, that was so creepy.
Those are really clear footsteps. The floor creaking and everything.
I know.
Nobody wants to play. If you really want to see Rachel freaked out, turn on one of the lights. If you think that's funny. You want me to go get you some liquor or cigarettes or anything? There we go. Turn all the way on, please. Play
With me, yeah.
After hearing the footsteps upstairs, Rachel and I make our way to the master bedroom in hopes of tracking down the source of the activity. Alright, we're up here in the master bedroom. If there's anybody here, if you're the one we heard the footsteps, please come into this room and talk to us. There's a little red light on the dresser and 3 flashlights that you can turn on and we can have a conversation. Can you please do that? There we go. Turn all the way on, please. Alright, thank you. Now, since that was the one I just set down, we don't know for sure that that was you. So can you turn it all the way back off, please? then we'll know that it was you and not just me setting it down. Do the same thing you did to turn it on, just turn it all the way off.
How could it really have anything to do with you putting it there if it did it long after you did?
I mean, it shouldn't, but it's just to get a little more validity. Alright, I'll do a quick recording and play it back and see if you want to talk. Was that you that just turned the light on? Yes or no? Did you ever live in this house? Yes or no? Was this always a private residence? Yes or no? In session. Didn't hear anything.
Wrong area? Maybe?
Yeah, let's go. Alright, so we just wrapped up the Bishop House investigation. We had a lot of weird things happen. A lot of stuff we were able to debunk, some of it we were not. We got a lot of audio to go through and see if we could caught some of the sounds we heard. I know we had a few personal experiences tonight. I'm really interested to see what we caught, bring it back, sit down with the historian and see if we can match any of it up. We're back at the Bishop House today. We completed our investigation, went through all the evidence. We're going to sit down with Claudia, the historian, learn about the history of the house, and let her know what we found. Do you know the approximate year this was built?
This was built, he started it in the 1850s
1850s.
as a bachelor home.
Okay.
And then he met Mrs. Bishop and married her, and they started to have children right away. And she died in childbirth with the last one.
Okay.
So the house was originally 4 rooms, 2 over 2. The bathroom that's upstairs was the only bathroom in the place, and that was put in the late 1890s by the second Mrs. Bishop. And they also had the first house to have electricity, and they were on the first telephones.
Wow.
I forget how many, it was like a dozen or so that went in first, and they also, the first Mrs. Bishop might not have known how to spend his money, but she definitely did. She wrapped the house completely with the new rooms, this turret room, and the porches.
Mm-hmm.
But she was very much the society woman and wanted to fit in. And when she would go to these people's homes, which were her friends, she would count columns on other people's homes. And if they had more than her, she would come back and add columns.
Wow.
That's why there were so many columns on this house.
Interesting.
Yes.
So as you know, I did bring a team of investigators in here without knowing any of the history, without knowing any of the reports of activity, without knowing if there was any reports of activity. We came in blind, so we didn't have any preconceived notions of what we found.
Mm-hmm.
So we did have a few things happen. We were able to capture some of them. One thing that I wanted to ask before I go into this, is there any kind of wind chimes or like musical things in the house that would make like a chime noise?
Not at this time. There hasn't been that I know of since
Okay.
construction.
Yeah, because we
Or
heard throughout the
reconstruction.
night, we heard 3 or 4, maybe 5 times. It sounded like almost like wind chimes, but we know it wasn't wind chimes because the wind was whipping like the whole night, and it would have been going constantly.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't the bells at the church because they're too loud. This was very faint, so I just wanted to make sure that we weren't missing something that we didn't know
Yeah.
about. So that's interesting. One of the first things that happened, we were over on the main staircase, and we were standing there talking and trying to ask questions, and we heard footsteps upstairs very clearly, and we were able to capture those, so we'll see what you think about that.
Somebody's walking somewhere.
It almost sounds like a step and drag or something, like somebody moving something almost. But we heard it with our ears, and we were all on the steps, and it happened upstairs. So there was nobody upstairs. Everybody was in that area. So there's no way it could have been any of us. And we were pretty shocked when we heard it, and to catch it like that clearly is something that we were happy about. Okay, we had a young lady named Rachel with us. Rachel has never been on an investigation before, so we kind of wanted to have somebody with a perspective that hadn't been here before and wasn't used to everything. So we were kind of just teasing her and saying, if there's something here and you want to scare her, do something. If you really want to see Rachel freaked out, turn on one of the lights. If you think that's funny. We caught a voice. To me it sounds like I bet you can't, and then it says Rachel, can I play with you? So we'll see if we can play
It
with
was me. Yeah.
it. And
Wow.
so that was a direct response to something that we had asked or made reference to. Okay, so we were up in the master bedroom. We do what is, we have a maglite flashlight where we take it just to the edge of being able to turn on and off, and the idea is that a spirit can manipulate that and turn it on and off and we can interact. Well, we weren't able to get it to interact, but we did get a voice. Now, since that was the one I just set down, we don't know for sure that that was you. So can you turn it all the way back off, please? Then we'll know that it was you and not just me setting it down. Do the same thing you did to turn it on, just turn it all the way off. And I'll let you listen. It's right in between me talking.
Okay.
Do the same thing you did to turn it on, just turn it all the way off. Do the same thing you did to turn it on, just turn it all the way off. Do the same thing you did to turn it on, just turn it all the way off. And so to me, we don't know if it's two spirits interacting to where it could be saying, hey, let me help you turn that on, or if they're trying to talk to us, say, let me help you by talking to you. But that was a pretty good response that we got. Okay, this is in the dining room. We were sitting down asking jokingly, we were like, what's for dinner? Don't touch the tablecloth, it's gonna fall. All right, we're ready for dinner. What are we having tonight? And we capture a voice that says, no one cares. All right, we're ready for dinner. What are we having tonight?
Wow.
Well, we appreciate you guys sitting down with us and giving us the history and listening to this. It's been a great experience. I'm thankful for the opportunity, and there definitely could be something here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We just wrapped up our sit down with Claudia the historian. We learned a ton of interesting facts about the history of the house. We let her see our evidence. She was pretty surprised. Overall, very productive investigation, and that's a wrap.